What's up, guys? Bachman's Garage back at you again with another video. I think in my last update I had mentioned that we were getting another vehicle, and here it is. It is a 2011 Harley-Davidson Fatboy Lo. I got it for a really good deal. There were some stipulations to the deal, but I finally own it. It is in my name, and I am more than pleased with how it is currently. But I do plan on changing some stuff in the future, and I'll get into that in a minute. But a little backstory. This was owned by my next door neighbor's father. He is a veteran, and he is retired. He's a lot, I think around 75 or 80 years old, and he can no longer hold it up. He has not very good balance, and yeah, so long story short, he wanted to sell the bike, but he didn't want to sell it to just anybody. He knows me and my dad like Harleys. He's seen my dad's Harley, and unfortunately my dad just recently wrecked his Harley. Not really his fault. It was a bad situation, but he's getting another bike soon. But long story short, he wanted it to go to a person that was going to appreciate it and actually use it for what it is and not do a whole bunch of stupid stuff to it. So I'm going to be tastefully modifying this bike and changing up a few things that he did that I just don't like. And to start off, I have to rebuild the fuel tank. The internals of it from it sitting were quite bad. I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's a lot of varnish. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot of rust, a couple very, very small spots. But I've purchased every piece to the internals of this tank that it could possibly need. He had purchased a brand new strainer for the fuel pump assembly, but the way that he wanted to go about rebuilding it was just not quite correct. So I'm doing it the best way that I know, and that's to replace everything that could need replaced. These are some parts that I have as leftovers. You can see this is his new strainer that he bought. This is the fuel pump. He assured me that it worked, but if you see, it has a line that attaches to the fuel pump from factory, and it's like heated and pressed on there because it's plastic. Well, you can't put a new one of these lines on. You have to buy a whole new assembly. And thankfully it came with this wiring assembly, because this one, it does work, but there is a plastic tab that is broke on it. So I'm glad it came with that. But anyway, we got new fuel pump assembly with the strainer and all the wiring, everything you need. A new fuel filter and O-ring that goes in this piece. I don't know the technical term for it. I think it's a sending unit. You got a pump, sending unit, I'm assuming. Got a little rubber bumper that attaches to the vent mount. Here's the vent. The vent was in good shape. Cleaned it up a little bit. Reused the clamp, because these are just pinch clamps. You can reuse these. This line he had purchased. I actually removed it out of the bag to put it on here to make sure it was the right one. It is. This was the main issue with the bike whenever he sold it to me, was the press fit petcock assembly. I believe it's vacuum actuated, but yeah, this line on it was messed up, and the O-ring was not the greatest, but it still worked. Yeah, so I got that, and then I got a whole bag of hardware, because the screws that are used to put the assembly back in are apparently one-time use. I got all of those. I got a fuel rated zip tie, because that zip tie is what holds this vent to the bracket, and that little rubber bumper goes on this hole, I believe, in the bracket, prevent it from rattling. And then we got a new fuel injector line as well that comes from the petcock to the actual injector body. So I got to clean up a couple of things, the fuel float, the bottom of the plate and everything that actually bolts to the top of the tank, and then this mount. I have to clean out the gas tank, and then, you know, make sure everything's clean the best I possibly can, and then I can reassemble. I figured while I was doing all this, I'm switching a lot of the chrome stuff out to black. So I'm got a new one of those on the way in black, and it's like an LED. And then this was his cap. It works, it seals, but it rattles a lot. So I got a new black one to match the fuel gauge. But anyway, I've just been cleaning it up. I've sold off a couple of parts that he gave with it, because I knew I wasn't going to use them. He had like a whole soft tail fairing set up with the radio and everything in it. The crash bars that were on the front of it were bent. These are like the mustache bars. They're not bent bad, but they are bent. Right there's the crease. and I don't really care for the way they look on this bike. I'm going to switch out the seat, switch out turn signals, license plate bracket, tail light, headlight, turn signals up front, mirrors, and a couple other fascia pieces. And then I'm going to do exhaust and intake. And then I guess I'm going to do the FP tuner from Vance & Hines. It's the best one that my Harley guy told me to use. So, yeah, that's pretty much the bike as it sits right now. I wish I would have been able to make a video when it was all together, but I've been very busy. I recently just finished this workbench. That is in the shop now. It's still a little bit messy in here. I'm working on cleaning stuff up, but like I said, I'm selling parts and stuff. Got everything set up over there the best I could, so I could actually start fiddling around with this thing. I would like to be able to ride it how it is before winter hits, and then once winter's here, I have my money saved up a little bit. I can buy the exhaust, I can buy the intake, I can make a weekend out of it and actually install everything that I want to. And then as it progresses, each year I go to bike week, I might get something different. I'd like to change out these chrome stays to black ones and a different backrest and rack setup. He had a whole setup on this thing with the two-piece seat, and it was nice, but it was putting off a little bit too many old man vibes. And granted, it's a Fatboy Lo, it's a cruiser, it's supposed to be an old man's bike, but you can make these things look so good just by cleaning them up and taking the dumb stuff off. For instance, the crash bars. I think it looks so much cleaner without the crash bars, though they serve a purpose, and I understand they're for safety and everything, but there's other Harleys that don't have them, and I don't like them, so they're going. Footboards, they're going to take a hike for some regular forward controls. If I wanted footboards, I would just get in my car. I'm happy it has a black tank on it and the painted valve covers, along with the other painted covers, because it just matches so well. And I'm not a big chrome fan, so this whole chrome's going to be gone. The chrome horn cover is going to be gone. I think I'm going to leave the bars just because they're nice and they're in good shape. This thing's going to take a hike. Hopefully I can figure out what I can do with the 3 holes that are remaining in my fender. And then there's a couple little paint correction spots that I'd like to address. It's a custom Ghost Flame paint job. It was done properly, but it wasn't taken care of properly, so there's some nicks, there's some dings, there's a few scratches and swirls. I'm hoping if I clay bar it and buff it, I can actually get some of the shine back. This is the worst blemish of them all. I'm hoping I can blend it. He gave me some of the leftover blue, and yeah, like I said, I'm hoping I can just clean it up, make it my own, and have fun with it. But alright guys, I appreciate it. Sorry this seemed like a little bit of a rush. I got other stuff to do, and I was just hoping to make some content for you guys because I've been slacking lately. So you guys will see this in the future. Hopefully once winter hits and I have my truck going again, you'll see some updates on the box and maybe some other vehicles. I'd like to get the drag bike out and start working on it. If I could get a pass or 2 in for next season, that'd be great. Maybe I'll even take this up to the strip with the FZ as well. Who knows? That's the point and the fun of having motorcycles. You never know what's going to happen next. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you a lot. If you want to know anything about the Fatboy Lo, shoot me a comment. If you want to know anything, or if you guys even have suggestions for me, leave them in the comments, because this is my first Harley other than the AMF, and you see how far that thing got. So, yeah. Thanks, guys.